Hello. We have looked at several brute force algorithms. Those algorithms did not do anything smart. They were giving us the most straightforward but not the most efficient way to solve a problem. Let us begin our study of the next class of algorithms known as divide and conquer algorithms by looking at a simple problem, the problem of detecting a defective coin given a set of coins. So we are given a set of coins, let's say n coins, right? And then what we have to do, we are told that exactly one coin is defective. It is of lesser weight, right? So one of the coins, exactly one coin is defective, and the problem is to find which one is defective, right? So if we apply a brute force algorithm to this problem, we probably start comparing two coins at a time. So I will take the first coin and the second coin, compare their weights. If they are of the same weight, that means both of them are not defective, because we know that there is exactly one coin which is defective. If one of them is of lesser weight, then we conclude that that is the defective coin. So if the first two coins are both of the same weight, right, then we move on and compare coin 3 with coin 4 and so on. So let's look at how a brute force solution to this problem would work. So here I have 16 coins, n equals 16, and the brute force algorithm would compare the weights of the first two coins. Are they of the same weight or not? Right? As you can see, in this case the defective coin is here. This is the smaller one, the one with lesser weight. All the others are identical to one another. So after one comparison, after I compare coin 1 and 2, we are able to eliminate them because both of them were of the same weight, same size. So neither of them was defective. So next I will compare the weights of coins 3 and 4. Right? So they also happen to be of the same weight. So they also are eliminated. So we are left with now 12 coins, and we continue this process. So the third comparison would be between these two coins. Right? So we eliminate them. The fourth comparison is between these two coins. They are also equal in weight, so they get eliminated. The fifth comparison is between these two, which are also identical to one another. But the sixth comparison in this case will give us a mismatched pair of coins, right? And we conclude that the defective coin is in this pair. So we find the defective coin. There is no longer any need to compare the remaining four coins. So for this particular instance, after 6 comparisons, we were able to find the defective coin. That's the brute force algorithm. So how many comparisons do we make? Right? The worst case would be when the defective coin was in the last pair. It was either the last coin, the nth coin, or the n minus 1th coin. In such a case, you would end up making n by 2 comparisons, which is, as we know, order n. So the brute force algorithm is a linear algorithm. The number of comparisons required in the worst case is n by 2. Of course, if you are lucky and the first coin itself was a defective coin, then only one comparison may be needed. But clearly the brute force algorithm is order n, because in the worst case it has to make n by 2 comparisons. The question is, can we do better? Is there an algorithm which will do better than linear time? Let us look at another algorithm, which in this algorithm will give us the idea of what we call divide and conquer. So here once again we have the same 16 coins, where this same coin is defective. Right? So now instead of comparing two coins at a time, I'm going to divide the set of coins into two equal parts. So there are 8 coins on this side and 8 coins on the other side. And I'm going to weigh or compare the 8 coins on the left with the 8 coins on the right. Right? If we do that, what will we get? We will know that the weight of the 8 coins on the left is greater than the weight of the 8 coins on the right, which means there is no defective coin in the first 8 coins on the left hand side. So they might as well be eliminated. Once again, I would like to remind you that there is exactly one defective coin, and the coin is of lesser weight. So if the first 8 coins on the left have a higher weight than the other 8, we know that the defective coin is on the second 8, the 8 coins on the right hand side. So when we do this with a single comparison, I can eliminate or throw away 8 coins, right? So now we solve this problem recursively. That is, we apply the same technique again. Now I'm going to divide the remaining 8 coins into 2 sets of 4 coins each. The 4 coins, and I'm going to compare the weight of the 4 coins at the top with the 4 coins at the bottom. And what are we going to find? We will find that the weight of the 4 coins at the top is greater and the weight of the 4 coins at the bottom is lesser. So once again, the defective coin cannot be in the top 4, right? So with two comparisons, with the second comparison, I can eliminate those 4 coins as well. So after just 2 comparisons, we are left with only 4 coins. What do we do now? We repeat this process. We again divide this into 2 parts. 2 coins here and 2 coins here. We compare their weights, and what will we find? We will find in this case that the weight of the top 2 coins is lesser and the weight of the bottom 2 coins is higher, which means now I can eliminate the bottom 2 coins because they don't have a defective coin in them. So after 3 comparisons, we are left with only 2 coins. We again now divide it into 2 equal parts, right? So 1 coin here and 1 coin here. We compare their weights. We know that the weight of this coin is higher, so that is not the defective coin, and we will be left with the defective coin after exactly 4 comparisons. Now you might say, what's the big deal? In the previous case it took 6 comparisons, or in the worst case it might have been 7 or 8 comparisons, but now it's only 4 comparisons. But the important thing to remember is we started with n equals 16, which is 2 to the power of 4. And in this new algorithm, the algorithm of dividing the problem into 2 equal parts and then comparing the 2 parts and then doing that recursively, that is throwing away one part and keeping the other half and again dividing that will always give me a solution in just 4 comparisons, right? So if n is 2 to the power of k, I can get a solution in order k, not order n. Now as n increases, k is much smaller than n, right? So if you consider a very large number, then the exponent k will be much smaller than n. So this algorithm will give me a much more efficient solution than the order n algorithm that we got from brute force. Let's look at that in a little bit more detail. So we are given n equals 2 to the power of k coins, out of which one of them is defective, right? So in the brute force method, right, the worst case is n by 2, which is 2 to the power of k minus 1. That is the number of comparison, that is the complexity of the brute force algorithm. Now what happens in the current problem? I'm going to divide it into 2 parts. Each one will be n by 2 or 2 power k minus 1 in size. One of them is eliminated. The other half is again divided into 2 halves, 2 power k minus 2 and 2 power k minus 2. Let's say this one gets eliminated. Now this one is further divided into 2 parts, 2 power k minus 3, 2 power k minus 3, right? This goes on until when? Until the problem sizes become 1, right? So what is the height of this tree? How many steps are there? How many divisions do we do, right? As you can see, each time k is reduced by 1. So there are at most k steps, k levels in this tree. At most k divisions happen. So the complexity will be of order k, right? And if n equals 2 power k, what is k? K is log n to the base 2, right? So now you got an algorithm which is of order log n. Order k is nothing but order log n, and order log n, as we have already seen in the analysis of algorithms class, is much better than order n. So divide and conquer has the potential to give us order log n complexity algorithms for a problem such as the defective coin problem. Let's look at the quiz question. Suppose we modify the problem slightly and say we are not required to identify the defective coin. We are only required to say whether there exists a defective coin. in the given set of coins. So we'll make a couple of assumptions, right? We'll assume that the number of coins n is a power of 2, 2 power k. So here we are not required to identify the particular coin which is of lesser weight. So there are two possibilities. Either there is no defective coin at all, that means all the n coins are of the same weight, or there is exactly one defective coin which is of lesser weight, and we are simply supposed to say which one of them is the case. Is there a defective coin or is there no defective coin? There is never going to be more than one defective coin in the given problem. Then which of the following is true? A says we still need theta log n comparisons. B says we need theta 1 comparisons. C says we need theta n comparisons in the worst case. And D says theta log n comparisons in the best case. So the worst case and best case here may refer to the position where the defective coin occurs. Is it in the first half? Is it in the first pair? Is it in the last pair? And so on. That may determine what is the best case and what is the worst case. So which of these do you think is true? Well, if you go back and look at our algorithm, it's clear that I need only one comparison to solve this modified problem. I divide the number of coins n into two equal halves, which is possible because n is a power of 2, n is an even number, and I compare their weights. If the two halves are of the same weight, then that means there is no defective coin. If one of them weighs more than the other, then we know that there is a defective coin. So you don't need log n comparisons, you don't need n comparisons, right, in the best case or worst case. If we merely have to identify the presence of exactly one defective coin, then a single comparison is sufficient. In other words, it is theta 1. Thank you.